I don't know much about this guy, but his name is Ryan Brown, and he's a Libertarian here in North Carolina running for Senate. But I saw this thread that he posted on Twitter, and I just had to share it because it's amazing. It's about how these red flag laws they're talking about can actually kill, and some of the real consequences of them. So let's go through it here. Red flag law thread. Friends and family you know and love are going to die because of red flag laws. That's an extraordinary claim, but he backs it up with extraordinary arguments. No, I'm not being dramatic. This leads to dead gun owners and dead police trying to steal weapons from people. Now is the time to keep up the fight. Alright, so he goes in to support it. Red flag laws will instantly become a weapon of anti-gunners. Don't like your coworker? Say he threatened you at work. Don't like your political enemy? Send the police to murder him in his house. Axe to grind with an X? Yes, officer, he said he'd hurt me. Think this won't happen? Look at SWATting. Look at all of the problems caused by that. Especially when you've got disputes about, domestic abuse and things like that. What if Amber Heard had done that about Johnny Depp? Think about that. So then without notice, the cops are breaking into your house in the middle of the night. You're shooting at each other because you might not even know they're cops because they haven't announced themselves. Your dog gets shot. The cop gets shot in the face and you end up bleeding out on the floor when they're protecting and serving you. Yeah, don't you feel so protected and served in a case like that? Red flag laws kill people, period. There is no middle ground with tyrants. The history of gun control laws is filled with racist and authoritarian intentions. Don't believe me? Check out my video. I'll put a link to it below. It's about the racist history of gun control. It's a eugenics program. It's another progressive eugenics program. Remember, the progressive movement came out of the eugenics movement, and that's what they're still doing today. Licenses and taxes try to price out the poor. Good moral character laws prevent minorities and political enemies from gaining weapons. Safety is used as an excuse to prevent inexpensive guns. But school shootings! What about school shootings? Well, what about school shootings? Is there an answer to evil that the government can fix by making new laws? No. Is there a problem they can make worse by legislating more? Absolutely. If anyone claims they know the exact cause, they're lying. Nobody has the perfect fix for every situation. I know good people are prevented from protecting themselves. Teachers can't protect their children in their classrooms, public school, or private school. It's illegal to have them anywhere except the parking lot of a school in North Carolina. But in Utah, this was like 20 years ago, I think, or something like that, somewhere around the turn of the century, they made it so that any teacher with a CCW permit can carry in the classroom. Since then, number of school shootings in Utah? 0. So, you tell me. You also don't have like all the fear mongering they're talking about how the teachers are just going to go crazy and start shooting their kids. It's like, look, if you can't trust the teachers that much, then they shouldn't be teachers. You need to hire better teachers. But no, I don't think teachers are going to go crazy and start shooting their kids. No. The real solution is to abolish all gun laws that prevent people from finding the solution that works for them. Nobody knows what the real solutions are, but we know the government is preventing us from finding them. That's why I'm running for North Carolina Senate. Yeah, North Carolina needs people who will fight for freedom when it isn't popular, so. Like I said, I don't know much about this guy, but what I'm seeing so far in this thread I like, so. So yeah, he's got a problem with the swatting and the things like that that's going on. Do you really think that this isn't what's going to happen? Well, let's look at some of the replies. and see what some other people say. We've got Rancher Rhett, who says, I want to add on those that know they need mental help to address previous trauma in their life will now be reluctant to seek help because the therapist may be required to report XYZ and have their firearms taken away. That's an excellent point. And that's already happening with the war on drugs. A lot of people who are drug abusers are afraid to seek out help because they don't want to be arrested. And so then you've got Chum, who says, nope, the only time a therapist may be required to report anything if the client flat out says he plans on committing a crime. Yeah, and what are we talking about making a crime here? You know, because Rancher Red says, that is as of current, I was talking about potential RFL that could be presented. Either way, you have an issue where RFL is used as a crime against someone. So-and-so is seeing a therapist, so clearly they have mental health problems and shouldn't be owning a firearm. By the way, I'll put this down there too. I did months of research into this, and there is no mental health diagnosis that makes it so you're more likely to commit an act of violence. None. It just doesn't work that way. So, watch that video. Alright, so, yeah, Chum is just being like those little Japanese monkeys, the macaques, you know, see no evil, hear no evil. I'm just not going to see it. I'm just not going to look. And then someone unrolls it. Chum is all through these. Let's see. We got Deadpool saying, why I said call this what it is really no-knock raids, which the Dems have rebranded as red flag laws and sold as gun control measures. As we know, cops are going to execute these in the middle of the night, see people getting killed from both sides, and Chum says, oh, that's not how it works. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Legalize freedom says it will hurt poor minorities the most, which of course it always does. Christ-like atheist, for some reason, is responding with hashtag Gish Gallop. That wasn't in any way a Gish Gallop. There was no. They're just misusing the term Gish Gallop. Chrissy Crown is saying that it's already happened in Maryland. A 60-year-old man shot by police who were confiscating his firearms without notice or due process, never committed any crimes. Meatbot9000 says red flag laws are stop and frisk on steroids. BB Cornholio says in many states that have gone this route, many local sheriff's offices have refused to enforce them due to risk of abuse and overtasking their departments. Here's hoping they all do that. Curious Software Engineer has a good point. It's not just gun owners. You think this isn't going to affect you just because you don't own a gun? How do you prove that you don't own a gun? They will show up at your house demanding something you can't prove you don't have. Yep. Oh, we are smart. This thread is a great example of why we need red flag laws. Oh my God, you are a good example of Killian's Law. We are smart. Oh boy. We need to educate people to know that of the police that come to temporarily take your guns, they're not breaking in. They're going to knock and let you know what they're doing. Really? Seriously? After all the crap the cops have done, you're really going to say that? So Cody Shannon tries to set him straight. You think they're going to knock? How many black Americans have they knocked and let them know what they were doing? We had a whole summer of protest because the police knocked and gave people they knew who had a gun explanation of what they were doing. And he mentions in the 1970s, due to the war on drugs, police argued and the federal government approved some people are too dangerous to be granted the typical courtesy of knocking first. Police reps have even said under oath in Congress they need to conduct a no-knock SWAT raid when homeowners have legally registered guns. 2014, police threw a flashbang into the toddler's crib. We talked about that quite a bit. Because of a legally owned gun for credit card fraud. Toddler was in a medically inflicted coma. Also mentioned 70-year-old Ayanna Stanley Jones during a no-knock raid in 2010. She was sleeping on a couch. 57-year-old Alberta Spruill. Yeah. You can read about those. And he says, New York City conducts 450 no-knock raids a month. 10% are done in the wrong home. How many times have we seen that? They get the address wrong. Yeah. That's 540 plus potential victims to be killed because the police are given the benefit of the doubt to be competently doing their job. That doesn't even include the ones that no crime is ever committed. Red flag laws will lead to increased no-knock raids and will lead to more police brutality and murder of innocent Americans. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And We Are Smart that goes, TED Talks are supposed to be insightful and thought-provoking. Yours is neither. Yeah. Can you refute what he said? Can you refute his arguments? So, yeah. Yep, that was Killian's Law. Cody Shannon again reminds me of a video I saw. I believe he was a black American ex-con, but going to school, turning his life around. Call comes in. Guy's carrying an AK-47. Police with no warrant and no questions kick his apartment door down, guns drawn. He had no gun. Again, he had no gun. If he would have had anything that resembled a gun or freaked out when police entered, everyone in America, even the gun control crowd, would be talking about another black American killed by police in his home, and he would have had no due process. So then Chris J. asks for examples. I'm Charlotte, not Edward Norton. Responds with a couple of links. You can look at that. And just more people just refusing to see the evidence of what's in front of them. There was one, I can't find it right now, but there was one that says, oh, well, no, they're just going to make it illegal to make a false claim about this, and that'll stop them. And then you won't have, the things like we see with the swatting and everything else. They'll just make it illegal. Oh, yeah, because that worked so well with the DMCA, didn't it? Yeah, because they made it a felony to make a false DMCA claim. And as a result, there are no false DMCA claims. Every YouTube creator will tell you we never get any false DMCA claims. And when we do, they're always charged with perjury. Yeah, right. A lot of people are bringing up Duncan Lemp. We've talked about him. So you're threatening to murder police officers. I was just saying, when you smash their way in and you don't know they're police officers, of course you're going to defend yourself. And by the way, what if they have to announce they're police officers and then you've got criminals who want to bust their way? All they're going to do is yell, we're police, when they bust their way in. People don't think this. People don't think this through. They don't think it through. Yeah. I don't know about this Chum guy. He really seems to have a bug up his butt about it. He just won't let it go. All right. Well, that's probably good. You get the idea. I just thought that was a really good point about the potential unintended consequences of red flag laws. Yep. Think about the swatting. Think about false DMCA claims. Think about all the crap that, people do just when they're pissed off at you. Either from a domestic dispute or you've pissed off someone online or something like that. Think about the potential bad consequences of what can happen, and I think you'll see the truth of what's being said here. So, thank you so very much. Comments for the Common God, shares for the Share Throne, like, subscribe, and the bell, donate.pagosity.tv. Keep me doing what I do. You can donate with PayPal or crypto, become a regular supporter, Patreon, or Subscribe Star. Get these videos early and ad-free, and also other benefits you can check out, including things like there's a monthly AMA that I need to get on doing because I'm late on that because I was recovering from COVID, so I do need to do that. I'm sorry about leaving it so late. I should have done it before I did these last couple of videos. But anyway, I need to do that. I need to do a live stream benefit for the patrons as well. So anyway, thank you so very much. Until next time, stay strong and be free.